All right. Shema Chiwa. Holy ones, truly, much respect to all of you who are on your spiritual journey, your awakening, and your ascension process. It's a great honor to be able to share these Emerald Order Freedom teachings with you. I found this as my calling, my service to all of you. And so it's just a great joy to be able to find other like-minded brothers and sisters in the world who also align with the innerchristos law of one, also called the Emerald Order Freedom Teachings. So we come together twice a week. Thank you for spending your Saturday night with us as we go into psychic abilities, psychic powers, extrasensory perceptions, ESP, and what that really is from these teachings' point of view, because certainly out there's a little bit of confusion out there. And so, but you better believe that there's this, you would say, a fragment of the population of the world, of the planet, the entire planet. There is a part of the population who are experiencing these other sensory, psychic abilities. And it's literally a spiritual science, you guys. Psychic abilities can be explained. They're tangible. And so it's connected to what's called the life force energies of Source God, what people call God. So these are part of the multi-dimensional reality that we exist within, but within all creation is Source God's life force energy. And there's, because of the design of creation, there are many different levels of that life force psychic energy. And the one that most people are familiar with is the Kundalini level of life force. Now, something that New Age doesn't teach about, there's actually higher levels of that life force psychic energy. And so above the Kundalini, which goes from dimensions, remember we're in a multi-dimensional reality. Let me make sure we're not getting any feedback, right? You guys can see me and hear me okay? Please write it in the chat. I'll be saying hello in a little bit. But these teachings do talk about how Kundalini goes from dimension 1 and dimension 9. But this is a 15-dimensional time matrix, but the first 12 are the ones that are the manifest part of the matrix. And so above the 10th dimension is something called the Christos ray, or the Maharata frequency, life force energy. So if you can connect to beyond the Kundalini level, you're going to be experiencing some extremely, supernatural, paranormal things. But even within the lower Kundalini levels, you're going to be experiencing something that most humans are not experiencing. And quite frankly, most humans don't even believe in psychic abilities. As a matter of fact, religion thinks there's something evil about experiencing any type of a psychic experience. And I mean, some people don't even dare tell someone in their family that, well, I'm experiencing empathy, I'm experiencing telepathy, I'm experiencing, being out of my body. That sounds evil to religious people. Out of your body, Or, try to explaining lucid dreaming, which is conscious awareness within the dream state, and you have control of the dream state. Just recently, I had a lucid dream. Not last night, but the night before. And how about talking about your past lives? Another psychic ability. How about telling them you experience clairvoyance, clairaudience, or clairsentience? They're going to want to, take you to an have an exorcism on you, right? So, or put, sent to the shrink, or sent to, make sure you get put on pharmaceuticals so they can take away those connections, natural, organic connections, so they can feel better. A lot when it comes to psychic abilities and powers, what people don't understand, they usually fear. So if they fear something, they want to attack it and make sure it's destroyed or goes away. But from this point of view, you guys, psychic abilities are a natural capability of all humans. Not just what we talk about on this channel as indigo children or starseeds. Not only them. All humans. You're not special. You're not some chosen people if you have psychic abilities. All beings. Actually, all beings have that potential. And so, but back to humans. All humans have something called scientists say we only have they say double helix. Two. We only have 2 strands of DNA. Indigo called BS. All humans have a 12-strand DNA template. Okay? That's your morphogenetic field. That's your divine blueprint. That's what all humans start off with. I mean, that's the human imprint. But because of, the original fall of the angelic human race, that has become, a lot of those strands became dormant. You literally lost 9 strands. What the scientists themselves call junk DNA. They don't know what that is. They just call it junk DNA, dormant DNA. As a matter of fact, they say that 97% of the human DNA is dormant. That's most of your DNA is shut off, you guys. So who knows what our true potential is if you started activating more of that dormant DNA? Well, one of the things that will start happening is that you will start experiencing psychic abilities and powers. Since most humans are not experiencing that, you can call those supernatural or paranormal. But they're not supernatural, they are truly natural. When you got a bunch of belief systems that think otherwise, it's not your job to convince other people. Every single being on this planet, and that's 8 billion plus humans, all these humans on Earth each and every one of them are responsible for their own spiritual evolution. Because that's what's happening here. That's what the spiritual awakening is. It's awakening to these supernatural paranormal abilities that science doesn't explain. The mainstream science doesn't. They say it doesn't exist. It's fairy tale. You get mocked. You get ridiculed if you start talking about your psychic abilities or experiences, legitimate experiences. They'll call you a nutcase. They'll say you're a schizophrenic. They'll say get off the drugs. You're imagining. You cannot prove it to someone who cannot experience it themselves. They need to go through a spiritual journey, which they're not. They're clinging to religion. They've been disempowered with their own free will. So you can't prove it to those kind of people. If you have an open-minded person, you can probably explain some of the things, but they're not going to relate, you guys. So we're not chosen people. We're not special people. All beings, even animals, can express psychic perceptions, and many of them are. Many animals have perceptions and psychic abilities that humans aren't experiencing. You can admire some of their abilities. It's amazing what some animals can perceive. So that's tonight's topic, you guys. We're not coming from the New Age point of view. I'm not New Age, even though you think I look New Age. I'm not. And these teachings are not. We actually talk about the distortions of New Age. I have over 1,200 videos on this channel, and a lot of those, hundreds of those, talk about the distortions in religion and today's New Age movement. And so this is from a Christos, inner Christos point of view, from an inner order point of view, from a unity, Christ conscious point of view. So welcome to tonight's chat. Let me say hello to everyone who's coming in. Thank you guys for being here. Machiwa. We got Zavuya. Welcome, Holy One. Glad to have you with us. We got Steve in the house. Woohoo! An analysis on how the dark actually works for God to awaken the light, which is dormant in most people. But I would disagree, Holy One. The darkness is not working for God. The darkness is called fallen for a reason. They're not serving God by acting dark. That's a Gnostic distortion. A huge Gnosticism distortion, which believes that darkness is necessary for you to experience light. That's a lie. That's a hoax. That's a fallen angelic propaganda. That's you have a sinful narrative. I mean, you have a sinful nature narrative. So I'm just, we can peacefully agree to disagree, but darkness is not serving God by acting negative and dark and challenging us. That is utter nonsense. Remember, these fallen angels didn't always exist. Gnosticism says the opposite, that they always existed and it's part of the natural creation. It's not natural. If you're here and you're following these inner Christos teachings, you will realize darkness only happened 250 billion years ago. So what does that do to the Gnostic darkness serving light principle? It's BS. It dismisses it. It transmutes it. Okay, so the fallen angels fell 250 billion years ago. That's when they started creating all these beliefs like, oh, you're a sinful being. When we're all perfect beings, literally in our divine blueprint, literally, we did not have distortion from dimensions 1 through 12. We didn't have animals or humans eating other beings to survive. We had immortality. So that's that topic. I don't want to go off topic, so let's stick on psychic ability topics, you guys. Yeah, Sunset Dreams, yeah. You gotta be careful when you're wording, right? Good to see you, Sunset Dreams. Bradney Ladner. Hello, Holy One. Sir Madison, brother, good to have you. One of our moderators. Good to see you, brother. VFPS. Love to all. Very grateful for finding this channel. Thank you for being here, Holy One. We're so welcome to have you with us. Kristen Klein, 100%. KRJS, hello to you. Lady Tracy Ann, good rising, everyone. Omni Christos, love to Anahazi and everyone here coming from Melbourne, Australia. Welcome, Australia. Good to have you, sister. Well, where I live, it's 6:30 right now in my time zone. I'm in Pacific Standard Time. But yeah, we're going to have people around the world, people in different time zones right now. Like my twin flame is 9 hours ahead of me in her time zone. Celine, Star Sister, so wonderful to see you, Holy One. Bless you, sister. Thank you for your service and being here tonight. Quantum Beauty 7 in the house. Old happy days. Cosmic Creation Insights Mysteries of Energy. That's a long name. Yes, bro. What's up, Holy One? Yeah, you guys have to realize The fifth density is antimatter. This is why that's dimensions 13, 14, and 15. All alien races and all planets are from dimensions 1 through 12. That's where DNA templates are. Notice that's where the divine blueprint is, in the 12th dimension, not the 15th dimension. Those beings are not ETs. They're solar rishi. They're eternal gestalt of consciousness that will always be here. They will never leave the time matrix. This is why we say 1 through 12. Bro. Abby88. Woohoo! Thank you guys for being here. Let me start on this live tonight. So, psychic powers. Are they real? They are very real. Let me start my charcoal disc. And while a lot of you can write in your psychic experiences, please do so in chat, you guys, because a lot of us have experienced these things. And actually, having a psychic experience is what has brought a lot of us into searching and trying to find out, information about it. This is why you found channels like mine or some other channels that talk about psychic abilities, because you want to know what in the world is going on. You want some type of explanation, because religion ain't giving you no explanation. Maybe you've been shunned by religion because of your psychic perceptions, and now you start to doubt yourself. You start to think maybe something's wrong with you. You guys, there's nothing wrong with you. This is natural, normal awakening symptoms. And actually, I will show you in angelic realities, they talk about them as being awakening symptoms. And this is why they're considered paranormal to most humans. And so we're going to go through that for sure tonight. Because the guardians themselves talk about even just your heart chakra, because most humans are 3D and below, right? But this is the heart chakra that starts your extrasensory perceptions. You guys, psychic abilities are not happening in the 3D. They're happening, this is where humans are embodied. So you're not getting that from here. You're getting it from things or interactions with higher dimensions. And let's say you're having connections to someone in the planet with you. It's not happening in the 3D. It's happening in the higher dimensions to their soul level and your soul level, which is density 2. Such as remote viewing. It's not in the 3D. Remote viewing is happening in the 4th dimensional astral. You're out of body. You're not out of body here. This is where your body is. Your astral self, your out of body self, is in the higher dimensions, not the 3D. The 3D is touch, smell, feel, hearing, tasting, seeing. That's not psychic abilities. Psychic abilities are higher dimensional experiences, and it all depends on each and every one of your psychic, you would say your activation. Every human is going to have different levels of activation. So, and there's so many different types of psychic abilities that we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm almost done here. Give me a second here. Let me put these down. I mean, I have a book this thick that talks about psychic abilities, all the different types of psychic abilities, and quite frankly, the guardians themselves say we all have a natural 12 senses, not just 5. But we're in spiritual bondage. We're being attacked by fallen angelic, malevolent extraterrestrials, and they want us disempowered. They don't want us remembering. They don't want us activating. They're scared of death of us activating our 12 strand. Because as soon as, if we, as a human race, all activated our 12th strand, they would immediately lose power. Because they're getting their power from us, or at least the sleeping humans are feeding them that power. Smudge yourself, cleanse yourself. I always recommend to co-create with these positive energies like frankincense, myrrh. Even Jesus is historically known to be given this by the Indigos, Magi kings, frankincense and myrrh. But we're not talking about only the Bible Jesus on this channel, but it's part of this. It definitely assists, and from my spiritual journey, it's very powerful. Machiwa. So, sorry, you guys. I see the donation. I'm sorry. Jazzy Jazz, sisters, blessings, Holy One. So happy to have you here, sister. Hey, brother Anahazi. I just wanted to say recently I've noticed that more and more humans have been waking up. I think this whole Trump and his agenda has really sparked a lot of controversy. I've never been so proud of humanity. And I hope that's true, sister. It's not like the MCEO's shield is together, and it's not like they're talking about current events. They're not talking about Trump. So what type of awakening, do you really think it is? Is it really a Christ consciousness awakening? Is it really a unity consciousness awakening? Do we not still see wars and racism and genocide? Do we not see religion as the main belief system? Don't we still see that most humans are worshiping angry, judgmental, demonic, fallen angelic ET God? So it takes a lot of discernment there. But I hope what you're saying is true. That would be beautiful if humans were actually awakening. We shall see. Machiwa. There is a spiritual war, and maybe Trump is a white hat, a good guy. We shall see. But there's been a lot of red flags with that person specifically. Any person, there's been some pretty twisted things that come out about Trump. Even on video footage, you can see some of those distortions. But I don't want to talk political here. That's not my channel. But thank you for your comment, because if you guys really feel that some people are awakening, then that's good. That's a good sign. But what are they awakening to really? Awakening to corruption? That's not the same thing to a spiritual awakening. So, are they going to change their beliefs and their religions? Right? But good point, Jazzy Jazz. Thank you for the support. Bless you, sister, because that's not your first time. Thank you so much for that. I can't do this without you guys. And even more than all the times I've asked for help, this is the number one time I really need to help you guys, because my whole life is transitioning to Arizona to be with my twin flame. And so there's a lot of cost involved in packaging and moving, and there's expenses involved, big expenses involved in moving. And so I really need help in that matter, guys. And nothing happened when I put that, on my social media platform. It's usually only you guys who are donating. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for your understanding. And I will be in Sedona soon. It's going to be, 12 more days. Maybe 10 or 11 days. I'll be in Sedona, and I'll start sharing the footage with you guys. I'll post pictures, I'll post videos, and I might even do a couple lives with Sedona in the background. So I can't wait to do that with you guys. Good to have you here with us. We have Anika became a member. Welcome, Angel. Thank you for joining Christos Avatar TV. Bless you. Have any questions? Feel free to reach out. Much respect to you. Let me show you guys on the diagram. Let me open that up real quick. On Photoshop. So we talk about the 15th dimension. And yes, I made a 15th dimensional diagram, brother. I think I know something about 15D. Of course, I know something about 15D. But the DNA templates start at 12, including the human race. But not all beings have 12 strands. But all beings do have a divine blueprint, a template that their template is based on, including humans. But humans are one of the few races that actually do have all 12 strands in their DNA template. But that's not the case, because most humans have fallen from this level, density 2, because that's where we're seated. We're seated in D5 of Tara. And where we are immortal. Okay? So this is Earth here. And I want to say that you guys can also get if you really like this diagram, you can buy this diagram and help support my work. And this is, there's two versions of this. The older one is $15. The new expanded edition is $20. It's definitely worth it. I mean, take a look. Has all this information, and it's not my own personalized information. It is Guardian teaching information. And so this is a study guide. This is a study tool, and it's an excellent one. I've only heard positive feedback on this, you guys, so thank you for that. I appreciate that. So this is Earth system. This is where we live. We're embodied. The human race is embodied here, but the actual human race exists in D4. We're not humans per se, we're souls. And it is the souls who have projected incarnates. We're the ones who are projecting 12 versions of ourselves in the 15-dimensional time matrix. We're bringing, our soul family is 12 pairs, no, 12 beings, but that's 6 pairs. So we have pairs of soulmates and pairs of twin flames. But anyways, what's going on is that you have normal 5 senses when you exist in the D3. Seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting, those kind of things. What you experience in this universe. But psychic abilities are perceptions from higher identities, from 4th dimensional levels of consciousness, 5th dimensional levels, 6th dimensional. Now, most humans are going to be have that ability to connect to these levels, which is, notice the chakra colors. Those are actually our connections to those levels of consciousness and mind. Your heart chakra in the middle of your chest connects you to the 4th dimension, the astral 4th dimension. The throat chakra, blue ray, connects you to the archetype 5th dimensional consciousness. Your third eye connects you to the celestial, angelic. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. That was my mouse. The angelic level of consciousness. These are higher levels of yourself. Of course, you have the ability to connect to your own higher levels of self, your soul self. But also, some people are activating much more higher levels, so you go into the oversoul levels of yourself, also known as the archangel levels. But also, these teachings talked about going straight up to your Christos avatar levels of self, where your divine blueprint is. And we have specific techniques that are helping you activate this full potential. All of these 12 strands. Now, as I said before, density 5, these beings are not incarnating. These beings are always here, always will be here, according to Ashana and the teachings. They're not leaving, they're not coming and going. They're always going to be perpetuating life in the 15-dimensional time matrix. So, I mean, it's a small detail, but just realize that all ETs, all extraterrestrials are between 1 and D12, D1 and D12. So density 5 are not ETs, they're not planets. This is why they're called, this is why they're called metaterrestrials. They're not considered the same type of life anymore. And then there's something outside of the time matrix, outside of dimensionalization, they're called ultra-terrestrials. And so, quite frankly, we talk about psychic abilities and psychic perceptions. It's possible for any of us to evolve ourselves to, our spiritual journey and activate our higher perceptions and abilities to actually start to perceive metaterrestrial identity levels and ultra-terrestrial identity levels. In other words, your Kirashe levels and your Kundalini levels, cosmic levels. These are higher universal and cosmic levels, literally. And so, this is what I'm trying to do, is explain to you what psychic abilities are. Notice the word extra sensory. Just like there's extraterrestrial, it's beyond your terrestrial world, beyond your 3D reality. Psychic abilities are coming from extra dimensional realities, higher dimensional conscious levels of yourself, higher identities. This is why you can have past life memories. All of these experiences in the 3D are going into your crystal body, into your morphogenetic field, from all of your incarnations, from this first universe. It is going right back to your soul level. Let me show you another diagram that makes it more clear. One second, I'm pulling it up right now. This is another diagram I created. It's not an Oceana Dean diagram. I just wanted to make something that makes more sense of this. Oh wait, I didn't open it yet, sorry. So this is you, actually. We're all humans are in density 2, our original selves. What's happening is each and every one of us has projected 12 levels of ourself. I'm sorry, I'm pointing at the wrong thing. 12 incarnates of ourself. One soul projects 12 pieces. You see this? It's projecting 12 different lifetimes. Simultaneous lifetimes in different time periods, different time continuums. Like a dimension is, one dimension is equivalent to 8,852 years. One time continuum, which is half of that, so that means 2 time continuums are in one dimension. So that would be 4,426 years. So notice that you are incarnating in all of the time continuums simultaneously from the soul level. This is why, this is what you really are. This is what your consciousness really is. This is why there's no such thing as psychic abilities in here, in density 1. These are incarnate versions of you. You're having psychic experiences, baby? Well, it's from this level. That's what psychic abilities are. Psychic abilities are not seeing, feeling, smelling, tasting, hearing. Psychic abilities are extrasensory perceptions that give you paranormal, because from this level, it's paranormal. From this level, it's supernatural, because it's higher dimensional. But most of these billions of humans, billions of humans in the 3D system don't understand that, don't believe in that. They're too busy worshiping cruel, angry, ET gods, false gods, not God. There's only one creator God. There's only one that created all life, and we call that source. The God force, God source, source God. So I just wanted to show that diagram as we continue in this conversation about psychic abilities and psychic powers. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Much love, much respect to all of you. Albie 88, Abby 88, Christos Avatar TV. I'm a nature girl. Arizona has really been calling me this year. I can't wait to go hiking. Arizona is beautiful. And this is why me and my twin flame are coming together in Arizona. I have lived most of my life in Arizona. I have family in Arizona. She's also been to Arizona. We both love Arizona for the same reason you do, Abby 88. So we want to be around. Okay, so this is bringing me to something very important I need to say. I was about to say near Stargate 1. It's not Stargate 1, it's actually Vortex 1. So you guys, I owe many of you an apology. From what I said last live. I didn't behave correctly. I didn't behave Christically. And I'm not just talking about on the live, but even in email messages. So I've always told you guys that I strive to be accurate in the innerchristos teachings, and if I ever make a mistake, then I will correct myself live, like I'm doing right now. So I apologize to you about the inaccuracies in the first 3 Stargates. I was correct in all the other Stargates. Stargate 4 through 12. Because there's only, the confusion starts in Voyagers, because the Voyagers is very confusing. Because there's 12 Stargates, but only 7 vortices, but some of those vortices are using the same name as the Stargates. So what? So there's also something called arc gates. Let me show this, because it's very important to correct this. Let me go to the PDF. And so that's on me, but I say it's very irresponsible to have all this. It almost looks like contradictory information with no explanation until way later in the higher workshops. So let me show you this right now. I won't go off topic. I just want to correct this real quick. And let me make sure. Wait, I didn't do the right one. Oh yeah, PDF. I want to make sure you guys can see that before I continue. Let me push F5. Okay, so this is the correct Stargates. Notice I got 4 through 12 correct. Egypt, Machu Picchu, actually Moscow. I never said Moscow though, so that's another one. Lake Titicaca though, and Xi'an, China though, and Tibet, and Iran, and Veil Pusi, and Montsegur. So 4 of the Stargates I mentioned were wrong. And that's why I'm correcting myself. So 12 Stargates, there's 12 Stargates, but there's also 12 Earth vertical primary exotonal lines, 12 Earth horizontal primary key lines, 12 parallel Earth stargates access. There's also 12 parallel Earth vertical axis B tonal lines. There's 12 parallel Earth horizontal ley lines. There's 12 Q sites / inner Earth stargate access. There's also 12 inner vertical axis C tonal lines, 12 inner Earth horizontal lines, 12 planetary Ark of the Covenant stargates, 12 Trinity stargates. There's freaking 4 Trinity hub gates. There's 15 star crystal seal locations. There's 7 primary vortices, and this is what's in Voyager's books. And this is why there's confusion, and this is why I made a mistake. There's also 13 rich pillars. There's the planetary seed atom. There's the arc planetary seed atom. There's the 7 Jehovian seals. There's the 2 stargates, which I have on my diagram, by the way. I listed these already. 2 parallel wormholes, and something called this and something called that. The 11 Michael Mary turnstiles. You see what I'm saying? 24 United Intruder Resistance Niberian Crystal Temple bases. I'm sure the secret space program is aware of some of these places. So no wonder there's confusion. No wonder there's collateral damage in the shield split. No wonder there's conflicts and disagreements. I love you guys, and I will always strive to be accurate in these teachings. I love the Guardian teachings, and that's my prayer every day. And even right before I do the lives, I pray for accuracy. I pray for, to be aligned with the Guardian teachings. And so that's why I'm doing that live here. I'm transparent. I want to reflect that integrity so you guys can be confident that if I ever make a mistake, I will correct myself. And that goes for anyone who points something out. Maybe I did say something inaccurately. Please contact me. We'll be more balanced in our energy, right? If we're aligned with those if we heal those inaccurate, whatever, if it was on a video or on a page on my website or wherever. So thank you guys for your patience in that matter. And I apologize. I was kind of rude when I was saying, some people, So I'm healing myself, but I'm also healing those conversations and those inaccuracies. But let's be honest, it is kind of frustrating in Voyager sometimes when these things are not explained. Like you saw in that PDF. That was a badass PDF that lays it all down. And not only, if you saw that on the live right now, you will see where the source of all those workshops that explain those things. So that was a compiled list, but they were talked about in maybe different workshops. So if anybody wants that diagram, hit me up. I'll send you that diagram. So now we can be more accurate in the shield, more collaborate, and get things straightened out. That's what we're doing. We're getting things straightened out. So let's go back to tonight's topic. I love you guys. I love you very, very, very much. Let's do this. Yeah, baby. And I did that once upon a time 3 years ago. I was wrong about twin flames. And I had to correct myself then, 3 years ago. So hopefully there won't be many instances of that, okay? So, yeah. So the psychic abilities, that was about what Abby brought up, and that, divine timing there. Thank you, Abby. Wait, I need to get my yeah, Abby 88. Thank you, Abby 88. And yes, there's something special and amazing regardless. There's a lot out of that list I just showed you, there's not Stargates. There's all kinds of things in Phoenix. There's energies in Tucson. There's energies in the Painted Desert. And certainly Sedona. A lot of us know about Sedona. So, and there was another confusing thing that there was a pole shift in human seeding 1. A pole, the 2 poles shift. So what does that do to the stargates? So there's some that were literally reversed and changed location. So that was more confusing. But on my channel, especially when you see your brother Enhazi start to teach with, and it will happen, I will start teaching with my twin flame. So you're going to see a male, a divine masculine, and a divine feminine on Christos Avatar TV eventually. She's agreed to that. We're going to talk about that more, and we have a lot to do for our move and to bring our life together. But you can expect that in our future, and you can expect we're going to be teaching a lot of the advanced teachings from all the workshops up to before the shield split. But there's a lifetime of powerful knowledge that we can still learn from before the split. Between, I say, around 2008. That's a lot of people agree. That's when things happened and started to happen in sliders, and the sliders started to change. So that's why we say 2008, most of us. So thank you guys. I know some of you are going to understand, and there's going to be some people who are going to try to rub that into me, and that's okay. This is another reason why I'm doing it publicly. So psychic abilities, you guys. Like I said, there's an awakening going on. All humans can experience it, but not all humans are, because simply their choices and their beliefs and what they're aligning with. Because our planet is, under attack, not in the 3D where everybody can see it, but behind the scenes in the energy structures, in the psychic perceptions. All the people who are psychic, they're being targeted. They're being, you could say, interfered with, intercepted. So you're not connecting to what you think you are. I mean, that's their agendas. And even though this isn't coming from the teachings, there's something I heard from Corey Good and all of his testimony. And not only Corey Good, but he talked about in Inner Earth, which is not in Density Universe 1. That's in another universe. Okay? So it's specifically talked about in the Voyager material as 3.5D. So that's beyond our universe, you guys. So Corey Good talked about how some of these fallen races, he didn't call them that, but that's what we know as some of these are fallen races. They were actually they created these pods, special pods. They kind of look like, what are they called? Tanks? What's those water tanks you meditate in? Flotation tanks. They look like flotation tanks. These beings in 4th dimension, 5th dimension, they're going in these special technological machines, and they're able to connect to humans in the 3D. In your dream state, in your altered state. So many people are channeling these beings, not what they think they're channeling, not what they think they're connecting to. This is exactly why the Guardians warn about channeling. This is the big deal when we talk about psychic abilities. There's a lot of freaking trickery going on. These beings intercept your session, your connections. And you think you're connecting to some divine being when it's a trickster beings. These beings have agendas. They're part of the Jehovian Galactic Federation, which most New Agers are freaking following and getting entangled with. These teachings warn you against the Galactic Federation, tell you exactly what they're doing. And it's the Jehovian fallen angelic Anunnaki races who are running it. Same with Ashtar Command. Same with Archangel or fallen Archangel Thoth, fallen Archangel Metatron, fallen Angel Enoch. You can agree, you can disagree. We can agree to disagree, because certainly a lot of these people are heavily involved in this. They're talking this, they believe in this. There's some people are teaching these things. They're entangled in the Jehovian, fallen angelic, Luciferian, because that's what these beings are, in their agendas, in their teachings. So when you start experiencing psychic abilities, you got to be very mindful, very careful in what you're doing. Let's talk about some of the things that, I have my notes here about this, where people, you can see it throughout history. So let me pull that up real quick, you guys. Because some people will say this is all BS, but it's been throughout history for thousands and thousands of years, man. It's in Hinduism and yoga traditions. Okay? And there's almost 1 billion Hindus. Just like there's almost 1 billion Christians. This is why I'm not exaggerating when I say billions of humans are following these distorted religions. But they do talk about things in Hinduism called siddhus. And it's described in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. These are extraordinary abilities that arise through deep meditation and spiritual practice, like clairvoyance. They have their own terms for those, but we all know it as clairvoyance, even levitation. People that I love and trust, who are also on a spiritual journey, have talked about witnessing people levitate, man. Even though it sounds ridiculous to some people, this is a real ability that Hinduism talks about, that masters have been known to do in front of people. So maybe it's far-fetched to some people out there, but other people know it's possible when you devote your life to going and activating yourself on much higher levels than most other spiritual people do. Most spiritual people are just happy and satisfied with just playing with crystals and doing kumbaya and dancing in the streets, and when it's really about hardcore meditation, breath work, and all the teachings you learn in Kathara and all the advanced teachings that are teaching all these. Man, this is a lifetime of knowledge. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not just settling for just some basic psychic abilities. We have so much to do and accomplish in our light bodies, in our higher levels of, they're all broken down and explained. So you can understand and start to activate these levels, put intention there, start to experience there. So these are some of the cultures talking about how they have also are talking about these. These are not seen as goals, but as byproducts of higher consciousness. It's within all our ability, but it's dormant in most humans. And there's also the potential distractions of people misusing these abilities. And even in Buddhism, they talk about these we call them psychic abilities. But these are abilities gained through meditation, just like the Hindus talked about. So there's something important about meditation, you guys. If you're trying to experience your psychic abilities, including reading minds. That's called telepathy. Hello. Recalling past lives and perceiving beings in other realms. We don't call them realms, we call them dimensions. We have a whole science of what these dimensions are. They're called Partakai grids. They're phasing at different frequencies, and they create bandwidths, 12 bandwidths. That's what we talk about in the basics of Kathara. And yes, from the higher teachings that Ashiana and Michael Dean and Marianne Calloway, they brought these teachings. It actually is a very kindergarten level compared to the more advanced levels. Tibetan Buddhism also emphasizes terma, which are hidden teachings revealed psychically. and oracles who act as channels for higher wisdom. Now, the guardians don't hide it from special people or special groups, you guys. But you're going to see those kind of distortions. But you can see other cultures throughout thousands of years have been talking about and experiencing and even teach you how to gain these psychic abilities. It's not just freaking imagination like most 3D people think. There's also indigenous and shamanic traditions that talk about psychic abilities. Shamans across Siberia, Native American, Amazonian, and African cultures, report abilities such as spirit communication, soul journeying, similar to astral travel, and healing through energy or plant spirits. Remember last week I talked about spirits? These powers are usually framed as tools of service, used to bring harmony between people, nature, and the spirit world. That's why it's people who are on a spiritual journey who are discovering these potentials. And they are natural organic potentials, as the 3D, well, some say two-strand, 2D, 3D humans are going to start activating as they go on a spiritual journey. Because it is in the spiritual journey you learn things like chakras. You learn things like Merkaba fields. You all have a Merkaba field. But if you're not even aware of it and you have no idea what to do to activate it, you're going to stay in the 3D conscious level. You're not going to have psychic abilities, past lives, communications with higher selves or other entities. You're not going to have psychic abilities. This is why it requires meditation, pranayama, breath work. It requires techniques to activate your chakras. This is a lifestyle choice. I choose to become my highest version of myself. What about you guys? Even in Judaism, which is the mysticism of their Kabbalah, Kabbalistic teachings reference, divine inspiration. We don't call it that, but they talk about prophetic visions and intuitive insight as gifts given by God, which is another distortion. We know that, right? It doesn't come, just like Reiki will tell you that, you guys. It's coming from God or some, but this is coming from the concept of all are one. You're a face of God. You are God. But they're saying, no, it's some separate source. It's you. And you claim that. It's part of yourself. You claim those abilities. They're dormant. They're buried. Reclaim them, you guys. That's what a spiritual journey does. And I'll talk about even how the guardians teach you how to start activating those and later in this video. Some traditions describe mystical states, altered states, that lead to extrasensory perception. That's ESP, extrasensory perception, or even influence over the natural world. Telekinesis is influence over some other object in the 3D. Remember, your consciousness isn't 3D, it's 4D, Machiwa. There's also Christian mysticism, not the mainstream Christianity, but Christian mysticism that talks about psychic abilities. The Bible includes spiritual gifts, something called charismata, like prophecy, discernment of spirits, and healing, similar to psychic abilities. Christian mystics and saints throughout history, which you guys know, it's not coming from Yahweh God, Father God, okay, or the Holy Spirit. This is coming from your own connection and activations. See how it's so easy for certain people to say, these are chosen people of God. These are special people. You can't have these abilities. BS. All humans can have these abilities. All humans can heal and astral travel and whatever, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience. We got to get out of this habit of thinking we're special because we're not. All life, like I even mentioned earlier, even animal life can experience extrasensory perceptions. So these saints have throughout history reported visions, telepathic-like knowing, and miraculous healings. Of course, we have Taoism and Chinese traditions. Taoist texts describe the cultivation of qi, with life force. What the Hindus call prana. It's called qi, prana. We call it life force, and there's different frequencies of life force. But this prana, this life force, leads you to extraordinary abilities like clairvoyance, telekinesis, or heightened perception. You guys, that was what I said at the very beginning. This is where psychic abilities are coming from chi, prana, life force. And your ability to be connected to those levels of yourself. You have levels of yourself that are connected to Kundalini. You have levels and identities and incarnations of yourself that are connected to the Maharata, life force energy. You have Rishi levels connected to the Kirashe levels. See, these teachings don't say you are a Christos avatar. They don't teach you that you are also a solar Rishi. They don't teach you that you're also an ascended master right now, in the present now, simultaneously as all these other parts of yourself. And you know that your highest identity is the God force, the God source. It's coming from you, baby, because you are a fractal, a face of God, an identity of God. And these religions don't like that message. They will attack that message. And just recently, I made a video about Yahweh. And you better believe I got a lot of comments on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. And, people are going to reply to that with their occult beliefs, with their religion beliefs. You're going to get a pushback on that truth. Right? Some of you experienced that pushback. And practices, back to Taoism and Chinese tradition, practices like Qigong and something called internal alchemy, right, are meant to refine the body and spirit, sometimes unlocking psychic-like phenomena. So there's a lot of teachings that, that make you go through all these specific things in order to assist you in activating those abilities. There's also Sufism, Islamic mysticism. Sufi mystics speak of karamat, which are miracles or spiritual powers, but they say it's granted to saints, such as foreknowledge, mind reading, and remote perception. You guys, I'm not dismissing your saints, because obviously their saints were on a spiritual journey. But anyone can go on a spiritual journey. It's not limited to mystics and gurus and saints, okay? That's the main message of the Christos, innerchristos. Remember what innerchristos means? You have a direct connection to Source God. All beings do. That's the whole concept of Law of One. Also in ancient Greece, they talked about psychic abilities in their own way. Like the Oracle of Delphi. That's a famous example. A priestess believed to receive visions from the Apollo, Luciferian god. They don't think it's Luciferian though, right? But she was delivering prophetic insight. You guys, she couldn't deliver any type of psychic insight without having those activations herself. Oh yeah, anybody now or anybody in the ancient days could have taken cannabis or psilocybin mushrooms or whatever to start activating higher levels of that, because those are just simply boosting your ability, your natural ability. But anyone can do that. Not just saints and oracles and gurus, and right? Greek philosophers like Pythagoras and Plato also hinted at higher senses of perception beyond the physical. That's what I said in a different way. Beyond the 3D, in the astral, in density universe 2. Okay? That's where it's coming from, but they don't have that creation context in those days. At least not in those philosophers, right? There's also theosophy and the New Age movements, also talking about psychic powers and abilities. The Theosophical Society in the late 19th century, Madame Blavatsky, Leadbeater, etc., they popularized ideas of clairvoyance, astral projection, psychic evolution. But let's get this straight. They didn't create it. This has always been available to humans for thousands and thousands of years, and technically millions of years. Machiwa. Because humans aren't just human seeding 3, we're here seeding 2 and seeding 1, which is literally millions of years ago. The modern New Age movement rebranded these ideas, often combining Eastern mysticism with that, channeling and concepts of energy into psychic development. And you're going to find a lot of distortions, you guys. It doesn't mean their experiences are illegitimate. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you're getting entangled in distorted teachings of what that really is and how to really use it, or how to, use it to heal. So we don't want no distorted healing. We don't want no distorted origins or something in between you and your higher self, because that's what these teachings do. They want you to follow gurus and saints and all these supposedly special people or chosen people or prophets. This is what my channel dismisses. This is what the Emerald Order Teachings dismisses, transmutes. We're transmuting those, but we're still going to talk about what has happened throughout history. Let me go back to chat for a bit, you guys. I love you, holy ones. Bless you. Zavuya. We share experiences telepathically. For example, when you get an idea and somebody on the other side of the world thought the same thing. Yeah, but that's more of the collective consciousness. Because we have our own self, but we also have the human race field, this is a spiritual science. So that's you. See, you have your personal morphogenetic field, also called the crystal body. That is within the greater human race morphogenetic field. So we're all literally connected. But also, the race morphogenetic field is within the planet's morphogenetic field. That would include connection to animals and plant life and the subatomic life. So you're not just limited to having, like you said, shared ideas with someone across the planet. You have potential, all of us do, to connect to any life form on Earth. And also, you're not just limited to the modern time. You have access to other timelines, to the past, to the perceived future. You have the ability. You see how amazing you are. And you see the atrocity that religion does, try to separate you from that. Try to demonize that and say that's Lucifer or satanic. It's perfectly natural process of consciousness, you guys. We're not limited to the 5 senses. Okay? You're only limited to your own beliefs. Machiwa. So if you guys ever have any questions, please make sure you tag Christos Avatar TV in your message. And you guys, this is a good time. I have to say this sometimes. You guys, please leave a donation in the chat. That's called a super chat. Or you can do a donation through my PayPal link below. This is how I keep doing these lives, you guys, full time. This is how I can survive. This is how I eat. This is my full-time job. So thank you for supporting that full-time job. I just have to say that sometimes. So there's also, some of the types of abilities are, I mentioned the 3 clairs: clairvoyance, clairsentience, there's something like knowing. the clear feeling or picking up energy or emotions of others. But there's also empathy, telepathy, psychometry. That's like if you touch an object, and psychometry ability, those people who have this ability, and let me say that, just because you have this you're psychic, doesn't mean you know all different types of psychic abilities. So not everyone has psychometry, just to clarify. So let's say you do have that ability of psychometry, you can touch any object, a personal object, and get a reading, a seeing, a feeling of that person, or any person who's touched this object. And other people are going to say that's impossible. So you see where their consciousness is when they believe that or think that. Okay, homie, you just made it impossible because you claimed it as so. You just blocked yourself from that potential. Congratulations. Now, why don't you consider removing that block and understand that you can have these abilities just like anybody else can? Maybe you weren't born doing it. I bet you were as a kid, but you don't remember it. Well, you can regain it in your adulthood now. You can still learn to be psychic, holy ones. It's going to take a commitment. We're used to expecting things overnight. You're not going to learn this overnight. You're going to go on a process of remembering and activating, and then you will start having your own proof for yourself. We don't need to prove clairvoyance to anyone, guys, or telepathy or whatever. It's all their own spiritual evolution or not. They're going to go do it or not. So just like you did. If we went through hard work, they got to go through hard work too. Machua. Remote viewing is another ability. Mediumship is an ability. Some of them are not, good choices, but some people are going into like divination practices instead of going into the innerchristos. Clairvoyance is also called clear seeing, the ability to perceive images, symbols, or visions beyond normal 3D eyes, right? This can appear as flashes of future events, what you call precognition. I know some of you have talked about something you've seen a future event come true. You guys, like I just said, not all people who are psychic can experience everything, like precognition. Certain people have that ability turned on. And certainly, some people have predicted the future. You can't deny it. That's part of their ability. That's part, you're seeing, remember, this 15-dimensional time matrix is happening simultaneously. All these time periods and time continuums and time cycles, time vectors, are all happening at the same time. So when you're psychic, you're not limited to the current time vector. So some of these people who can see, who are precogs, they can literally connect to these other timelines that are happening in the now to their precognition, but to the current time vector, that's a future time period. And this is exactly what some of the type of psychic people are being recruited by these dark underground, programs, like the secret space program. They actually need precogs for their agendas. They need indigo children. They need us to serve their agendas. So, and plus they have all these technologies to boost their natural abilities. Just like us, we have access to plant medicine that can boost our abilities. Well, they have all kinds of technologies that just freaking take their abilities way far, much more beyond, normal. Just like any of our technologies, like a telescope, it is boosting your ability to see far, 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 far away. Well, they have other technologies that boost psychic abilities. And you don't have to believe that. That's based on your own discernment, right? In many cultures, clairvoyance was considered the seer's gift, helping guide leaders or tribes. Clairaudience is clear hearing. So psychic hearing, receiving guidance, messages, or sounds not audible to others. I've had several instances in my life where I've experienced both of those, clairvoyance and clairaudience. So I know it's real, you guys, because it happened in my holographic experience. So this could be subtle, like a word whispered internally, or more external, like a ringing tone that carries meaning. And many mystics, prophets, and mediums describe this as hearing the voice of spirit or guidance from higher beings. So we know better. When you're in these teachings, you know the context of creation. You know those higher selves are you. They're not just some other family of consciousness or some archangel being or some saint out there or some spirit out there. You know that you can, through your own inner Christos and your own divine connection, have those abilities and perceptions. And so, maybe other cultures just simply don't understand that point of view. The voice of spirit, that's the voice of your higher self, homie. So you can easily have these ignorance and be easily demonized because of that lack of understanding. This is why your Christian family may demonize you, because they think it's coming from the Lucifer or some other source, instead of understanding it's coming from your daughter or your son's own natural connections, not some evil thing, machua. Clairsentience is clear feeling. You guys, I have literally, one of my biggest memories or experiences happened when I was in Machu Picchu. No. Close. I was in the Sacred Valley of Peru. Okay? I was at some ayahuasca retreat where I definitely experienced a bunch of psychic perceptions, right? But one of the times was I wasn't on medicine. I wasn't even high. I was sitting against the wall. Against the wall. That's an important point. I felt this. I felt someone tapping on my back, which is a psychic ability. Maybe it was someone across the camp. Maybe it was some witch doctor or some person playing games in the astral. Or maybe it was a higher self. Maybe it was an angelic self, an archangelic self. Hey, you're in the right place. You're meant to be here in Peru, right? So this depends on what's going on in your life. You can pretty much come with your own conclusion. But it's clear feeling. There was another profound experience I had. Let me make sure. Okay. So I explained how I was in shamanism, and that helped me learn a lot about spirit guides. Of course, these teachings taught me a lot more what really spirit guides are. But one of my spirit guides was a fox. And this spirit guide specifically was very playful, very happy, very loving, always kissing me, giving little fox kisses. It was a very loving energy. And one time when it came to me, it was lucid. I saw this being lucidly, man. And I was in a dreamy state, like between sleeping and awakening, like twilight. And a twilight, a perfect, special time for you to be in a semi-altered state, naturally. And so I was in my lucid dream, wasn't lucid, right? I mean, wasn't just a dream, right? I was petting this being. I felt its body, man. Literally, my tangible sensation on my hand. I felt the fox's body, and I didn't think nothing of it because I was too into it. I was into that level, and I'm petting this beautiful, loving fox, and then I start, oh my gosh! And I open my eyes. My 3D eyes, and it's not there. But it was definitely an experience of clairsentience. So I've been tapped on the back, I've been touched, and I've felt these. I've also felt many different dragons. In one point in my life, I had a lot of energies with dragons, and so I was able to feel some of these dragons flying around me. So that was a whole different experience of clairsentience. Clair feeling. And you guys, please, if you've experienced some of these abilities, please put those in the chat, because other people are reading and they want to also confirm some of their own. Maybe they're too worried about sharing their experiences, but they see you sharing your experience, and that's why it really helps other people. There's also claircognizance, which is clear knowing. So there's more than 3 clairs. Some people say there's only 3 clairs. No, there's more. A sudden, strong inner knowing that arises without logical explanation. This is the download sense, where someone instantly knows the truth of a situation or future outcome. It often comes as an instant certainty rather than gradual reasoning. And this is something this next one, telepathy. Some people will think it's impossible to read someone else's mind. Oh yeah, prove it. Read my mind. Remember what I said? No, if you're psychic, it doesn't mean you know all psychic abilities. But that's the ignorance of 3D people. They'll say, okay, read my mind then, right? Even if you're not a telepath. Maybe you're an empath instead of a telepath. Maybe you're a clairvoyant instead of a telepath. You know, so these people, you can't explain it to people. They're just going to make a joke out of it and make fun of it. So why even engage with these kind of levels of consciousness? Telepathy is mind-to-mind communication, bypassing language. This may be a subtle sense of what, another is about to say, or a direct exchange of thought. Ancient traditions, suggest telepathy was once a natural ability before spoken language became dominant. And that's true, you guys, because we were able to do that naturally before. You didn't need to use a mouth. And then why do you think some of these advanced ETs have little tiny mouths? Because they don't need teeth. They don't need to chew. They're breathing air, and they don't need to speak. They don't need a tongue, because they have this mind to mind. You better believe most extraterrestrials are psychic and super psychic compared to what humans are experiencing in the first universe. Most humans, not all humans. There's a lot of spiritual badasses on our planet. It just depends on your own connections. But you can better believe it's a real ability. Psychometry, I already explained that. The ability to read the history, energy, and story of an object through touch. So imagine if you have this ability. You don't need to ask someone about their life. Just start going into their house and start touching all the objects around, or objects they touched, and then you can get a reading of their life story. People with this gift may hold an item and perceive emotions, images, memories. This is often reported, in paranormal research and shamanic practices. And don't forget astral projection. You guys, write it in the comments if you've experienced astral projection. I know I have. I felt being out of my body more than once in my life. Most of these abilities I have experienced. No joke. And I'll tell more of my abilities a little bit later. This is the conscious ability to leave the physical body and travel in the astral planes. Cultures worldwide describe dream travel, shamanic journeying, and soul flight as a natural ability of the spirit body. You guys, you don't need other people to believe that you can do some of these things. And maybe your heart's full of joy and you want to share these experiences. Well, share it with other like-minded people. Hello. other psychic people, other indigo children, other starseeds who have these experiences. You know, like our sister said, most humans are awakening where? Do you see these abilities awakening? Because if they are truly awakening, then they are also experiencing extrasensory perceptions. It is the sign that people are awakening. So it's still a small percentage of humans. It's still a taboo topic. Psychic abilities, psychic powers. And quite frankly, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Because I make videos, you know, I have to make the title. I have to make the description. I have to choose the tags and the hashtags. And one thing I found out is that they censor psychic, the hashtag psychic. They censor psychic, hashtag psychic abilities, hashtag psychic powers. There is no hashtag page for those hashtags. It doesn't exist because they don't want you talking about these awakening things and abilities and potentials in the human race. Remember, they want you drug-induced. They want you disconnected. They want you forgetting your potential, not knowing your potential. And they make it something that is conspiracy theory, or they make it something as you're a schizophrenic if you talk about it. They make it think that you're on drugs if you talk about it. They make it think that it's evil if you're experiencing these things. So you shut up and you don't talk about these things and you don't use hashtags and share it with everybody. I'm still going to do it even if they don't allow hashtag psychic. Now, Instagram, they allow it, but YouTube doesn't allow these they don't even allow hashtag spirit orbs or ghost orbs. They don't allow the spiritual ideas and concepts to enter your mind. This is why you wonder why your brother Anuhazi's channel are shadow banned. Because I'm talking about all the things they don't want me talking about. They don't want us talking about all these things. So they're going to slow my channel down to a crawl. But here we are, still talking about these taboo topics. Like psychic powers. Did you get that algorithm? Psychic? Hashtag psychic? Literally, guys, I have records. Let me see. How to be psychic is not allowed. Hashtag psychic skills not allowed. Let me look at my master list. My master list of that. It will blow your mind. It's a little unknown sign of censorship. Like when I was trying to do a video of spirit orbs, I found out real quick there's so many hashtags they don't allow. I didn't mark them all down. They don't allow ghost orbs hashtag. Ghost orb hashtag. But I already told you that one though. Yeah, I don't have it on this page. I guess I have it on different pages. But yeah, it's very disheartening to see that certain things are being blocked from the algorithm. Yeah, I'm not going to waste your time on this, but just know that they're out there. There's banned hashtags. You're not allowed. Think about it. Why? Why would they ban hashtag psychic? Why, guys? What do you think the reason is? Write it in the comments. There is no reason why. I mean, it's a bad reason why. No good reason. Not because they're... What? Come on. Let's see your logic. It's conspiracy theory. You're not supposed to be talking about those kind of topics because it's fairyland. It's not real. And we don't want to talk about non-real topics. You see? But if you want to know the truth, there's tools that I use because I'm a content creator. Let me bring it up. Even though they don't allow it, that doesn't stop people from still searching for it. Keywords research. Psychic. Now, this is a monthly metric. A monthly metric. 31,000 people are using this search, man. 31,000 people are interested in psychic abilities this month. And it has an indication that that volume is rising. So, even though they don't allow a hashtag page for that topic, there's still going to be people looking for it. Just like some of you found this channel for one reason or another because you're interested in it. My Chiwa Holy Ones. What's going on, Holy Ones? So, astral projection, I think I covered that. Remote viewing. Remote viewing is skilled studied even in military programs. Okay, so we're saying that it doesn't exist, but the freaking government and the military have secret programs. But of course, that's going to be labeled conspiracy theory. Remote viewing is... you guys want to do some research? Do your own research and find out, where does remote viewing come from? It comes from a government project. I'm not talking about astral viewing or remote viewing. Anybody can do that. But there's a technique called remote viewing that the government has been developing. Perceiving a distant location or event across space-time. Of course, they're only going to choose psychic people who can do that naturally. With practice, people can describe landscapes, buildings, or events they have never physically visited. And of course, we have this, darker concept of mediumship and spirit communication. The ability, you have an altar, you're doing some spell work, and in your, what's it called? Where you're calling upon these spirits, inviting these spirits, right? The ability to perceive and sometimes communicate with beings beyond the physical plane, whether ancestral spirits, guides, or other entities. While often controversial, that's because you make it controversial. This ability appears in nearly every culture and religion. Hello, all you haters, all you disbelievers, saying it doesn't exist. Why is there cultures throughout history talking about this? You think it's an ongoing imagination? Right? But what do I say, you guys? What do I say? You don't need other people to believe. We don't need them to believe. They're on their own path, right? There's also healing and energy manipulation. Some psychic abilities manifest as direct influence over energy fields, whether through hands-on healing, channeling life force, or sensing where imbalance exists in the body. This overlaps with traditions like Reiki, Qigong, and shamanic energy work. I mean, if you guys have done any of these things, might as well talk about it and get it out in chat. Precognition and retrocognition. Precognition, perceiving future events before they occur, precogs. Retrocognition, perceiving past events not personally witnessed. Both often manifest through dreams, visions, or sudden flashes of insight, and also like to add any type of altered state of consciousness. And let me show you guys angelic realities and how let me mute my speaker. It's not a 3D experience. It wouldn't be called psychic then. Extrasensory. And it starts in the what's the next dimension after the 3? It's 4. And the Guardians talk about the 4th, all the psychic abilities that can happen as soon as you start activating your heart chakra. So if you learn, let's say you want to learn psychic abilities because you feel you can't connect yet, well, you start focusing on your light body. This specific Partikai grid, the green ray, the fourth heart chakra, it's centered in the middle of your heart. You start visualizing a green sphere right in the middle of your chest. See it. Close your eyes and see it. You see a green sphere? Those are small little ways to start to connect to psychic abilities. But realize that the concepts, the techniques are much deeper than that. And I will show you in Kathara where they teach you triadic phase currents. But first, let's show you angelic realities. And one of my moderators, please provide the link to this PDF. It's on my server, but you can find them on other sites too. Let me stay hydrated. I'm opening the Angelic Realities PDF. I love you guys. What's up, homies? Okay, so I got it open. Let me switch over to it real quick. And I believe I have this bookmarked. No, I don't. What the shit? Okay. This PDF is not bookmarked, so let me just type the word psychic. Psychic. There we go. So, race evolution. That means humans. Remember, humans are in the fourth dimension conscious-wise, but our body's in the third dimension. Symptoms of fourth strand template activation, your DNA template. All of humanity is entering a natural acceleration, genetic evolution, So that's what these symptoms are. Some symptoms of fourth strand template activation are less fragmented dream recall. That means less fragmented means you can remember more. And the development of lucid dreaming. And I just had a lucid dream recently, 2 days ago. I love lucid dreaming. Write it in the comments if you have lucid dreams. One of the symptoms of your heart chakra activation, that's what the fourth strand, DNA strand is, the heart chakra, is spontaneous out-of-body experience. Remember what I said about psychic abilities. It doesn't mean you know all abilities, but this is some of the things that you could experience. And astral, fourth dimensional, consciousness projection. Astral projection, basically. Usually starting from the dream state. And this is a trip. Check out this ability. Seeing specks, dots, balls, and projectiles of light formations. With the eyes open, but also seeing them from the whites of the eyes and or through the eyelids, as if the eyes were open. Okay, how about this? Seeing auras around living things and inanimate objects. If some of you have seen the movie Lucy, this lady, she has this well, they don't do it through a spiritual activation, but there was some drug that helped her connect to psychic abilities. And she started just tripping out and looking all around, and she could see the energy systems of like the tree or the aura or whatever. That's what that is about. And anyone can start to perceive aura. I've seen aura lucidly, and I've seen it just very subtly. It just depends on what state I'm in. But OMG, man, it is extraordinary. Oh my gosh, man. If you have any doubt and you see it, the aura lucidly, because when I saw it lucidly, man, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Look at your hands and you see this field of colored frequency around you. And it wasn't just, It was in all the space that I looked around my room when I was in this altered state. I saw it around my computer monitor. It's inanimate, but I saw my aura is everywhere in the room. So I saw it around everything in the area. I saw, so it was electronic objects. I saw the aura. I saw it around my body, but also things that were near me. It would just trip me out, man. It was extraordinary of experience in my life. I will cherish that always. And it didn't just happen once. So, but other times, like I could just be just relaxed, and I close the lights enough that you can still see in the room, but I could see like vapor. Usually it's better if you don't move your eyes around. Just keep your eyes still and try not to blink as often as you can, as least as you can. So I'm using my peripheral. I can see anything moving. That movement, that vapor is your aura. Now someday you'll be able to see it in living color, like obvious and beautiful, gorgeous colors. And the colors that I always see in these powerful states of consciousness are teal and violet, like the 15th dimensional magenta, actually. Teal and magenta, which to me is my Rishi self. That's the 15th. That's the 15th and the 13th dimensional. I don't see yellow for some reason. So, even in my spiritual journey, even on my lives, I talk to you how I'm connected to the blue flame, 13D, and the violet flame, 15D. That's my personal experience in higher selves. My solar Rishi is in those levels. So I've seen the Pegasus man. I've seen, and the cat people. So 13D, Elohai, Elohim, cat people, and 15D, Pegasi, winged horse deer. Oh, the deers too in my field. Not to mention dolphins and whales. Those are all violet flame races. So, what is your experience, you guys? Write it in the comments. Let's say you're blue flame. That's this chakra, the 5D. Green ray is 4D, the green ray. But we have other ones. Maybe you're seeing gold. Hello, that's the 8th dimension, the mated galactic core level. Silver, 9th chakra. That's the diagonal chakra, one of them. There's 2 diagonal chakras. That is the 9th dimensional frequency. So those are subtle hints to you guys. If you have some paranormal, trippy experience, and those are the main colors, well, that is a sign right there of where it's originating from. That is your identity at those levels. And what I've said before is, you cannot experience that. You cannot see that unless you are coming from there. That is your confirmation. This is why if you're an indigo child, you would see it. You would see that aura, that color. If you start seeing pale yellow or pale magenta or pale turquoise, that's your solar Rishi part level. So that's one way that your higher self communicates to you, in those light spectra. And you can experience it in your journey. Machiwa. Wait, am I still talking with the PDF on? No, I turned the PDF off, right? All right, we got Just Joy gave one of those donations. Thank you so much, Holy One. Bless you for being here with us. I like the little pair that you put there. Syrian Princess. Good evening, crew. Thank you so much, Syrian Princess. Bless you, sister. Thank you for helping me. This is how I can keep on rolling. And you guys, there's still a long ways to go. You guys, and at least $70 more tonight. Please, I'm sure we can reach that together. Syrian Star Princess wrote, "Good evening, crew. Question: How do these psychics who use their abilities for nefarious reasons avoid correction. If I'm misaligned, unknowingly of course, with my abilities, I feel psychic pain. I don't know what you mean about avoid correction. I mean, that can mean different meanings. Like, there isn't a God that's going to correct you. Nobody's going to correct you, except for 3D humans, for example. If that's what you meant, maybe you mean something completely different. But yeah, just like there's a blessed, positive, spiritual awakening people here using it for good and positive things, well, there's people in the 3D using them for nefarious reasons. Remember, there's dark, distorted consciousness from dimension 1 all the way to dimension 11. So some avatars, dark avatars, are distorted. There's some distorted archangels. There's some distorted angels. There's, most New Agers believe everything above 3D is blessed, except for some of the lower astral. Everything else is divine and perfect and good. No, it's not. From these teachings, you learn that because of the Lyran Elohim wars, when this is also a tidbit for Gnostics, because they think it's always been evil. No, this happened in the Lyran Elohim wars. That's where darkness came from. That's where it started. So, I'm trying to answer your question, even though I don't know the full context of your question. But some beings are distorted at those higher levels. I mean, we know that these Anu Elohim are 11-dimensional dark avatars. They're super, super psychic, super powerful beings. How can they not be corrected? Because God doesn't correct you. That's a religious concept. That God judges you and calculates all your sins and is going to put you in a lake of fire. Guardians, source God doesn't correct you, is not going to interfere with you. This is why so many people in religion get angry at God because of the horrible things that some of this darkness does. They have no explanation for it. When God gave all beings free will to follow the path of chaos or the path of order, and some beings are following the path of chaos, whether they know it or not. They're in that path which leads them to the destiny of sorrow, which leads them to unconscious oblivion, self-destruction, self-annihilation. There's a balancing going on. There's some people practicing light, some people practicing darkness. No one's correcting that. We transmute whatever we can whenever it comes into our experience. Thank you, Syrian Star Princess, for your help. And I still need more help, you guys. At least $70 more. I know someone can help with that. Thank you so much. Psychic powers in daily life. Intuition. Gut feelings. Okay? Actually, I didn't finish that PDF, so let me go back to the PDF. Sorry about that. What the Guardians talk about psychic abilities. Seeing those speck dots balls, seeing auras. That's where I got to. Seeing auras around living things and inanimate objects. Just like Lucy was doing in that movie. She started acting, perceiving extrasensory abilities. One second here. Scarlett Johansson, that was her name. I was trying to remember her name. Scarlett Johansson in the movie Lucy, she started experiencing psychic abilities, but in the movie, they don't explain it as a spiritual experience. They explained it as a drug-induced experience, a special drug that she didn't even do it on her own will. Someone forced it into her. So, but anyways, increased empathy. I've already had made videos about that, and a lot of you talked about how you've had empathic experiences. Telepathy, mind-to-mind communications, psychic and energy healing abilities, channeling and interdimensional communication. That's going to start happening to some of us naturally because of the fourth strand heart chakra activating. If you haven't done jack shit with your heart chakra, guess what, you guys? You're not going to experience any of this stuff. And you're going to think it's all BS because you haven't experienced it. You'll think it's a delusion. Surfacing of reincarnation, contact, and fetal integration memories. That means you remembered past lives. You remembered being in contact with aliens or higher selves. You remember being in your mother's wound. You remember that happening. You remember being aware. Just like you're aware in a lucid dream, you were aware while you were in the fetus. That's what it says right here, fetal integration memories. You could also seeing dimensional overlays or ghost images of other scenes transposed over physical 3D reality. Especially when you're on plant medicine, you'll see that. Processing of emotional issues from other incarnations. Like you're tripping out and wondering, where is this emotion coming from? Well, maybe it's from one of your other incarnations or one of your parallel lives. Remember, it's not limited to your current timeline, you guys. I explained that earlier. It could be from another timeline, another time continuum. It could be from inner Earth. It could be coming from parallel Earth or one of the adjacent Earths like Gaia or Tara or Aramatena. Sensing and seeing communications I already said that one. Strong sense of love and connection to the earth and other living things. You just can't help it. You just love earth. You love life. You love all animals. You love all beings. So think about that. All the hateful people in life, all the people who can easily kill animals or bugs, all life, any life, well, you see they're not developing. Straight up. I've talked about this again and again. All the people hating on us, making fun of us, are the ones who are not evolving. It is you guys who are experiencing these psychic abilities that are being mocked, who are the ones who are literally psychically, spiritually, biologically evolving. This is why mainstream science, Luciferian science, they're taking you away from the truth, fallen angelic propaganda of the evolution theory. You're not looking into the sleeping dormant DNA for your evolution. You're looking out here towards the apes and some other, lines of life on Earth, the primitive life. All the haters who don't believe in this shit are the ones who are not evolving. They're staying in the same level of evolution, not evolving. It is you experiencing past life memory, experiencing, seeing astral energies or, dots, balls, and other light spectra. It is you who is evolving when you start seeing overlays of reality, or you can see through the eyelids, or you can see, in clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance. You are, holy ones, brothers and sisters, the ones being mocked in the spiritual bondage of earth. You are the ones who are truly evolving. Just remember that next time you get some hate on you. Bless you in your awakening. See, we naturally gravitate to love, you guys, in our awakening. You'll have, some of you will have conscious contact with the deceased. You know, that movie, The Sixth Sense, I see dead people. Some people can. They can see disembodied consciousness, I'm sure too. Angels, some of them, people see angels or ETs. You know, some people don't want to see those kind of things, right? They're scared to death to see those kind of things. So, also the micro and macro vision and perception of parallel Earth. Because you guys, the parallel Earth isn't somewhere far, far away from us. The parallel Earth and your parallel selves are in the same space, but at different frequencies. Okay? They can be in the same space because they're at a different angular rotation. The Guardians call it ARPS, and they're at different speeds of particle pulsation rate. So they're invisible to you, but they're still there in the same space as you are. This is why remote viewing is not, or astral projection or sensing is not limited to distance. Doesn't matter if they're in another galaxy. That galaxy, that other planet, is in the same space. When you start to get that, right? Just like there's all these different radio stations that you can tune into, you just change the dial. Change the dial. What are you doing? You're changing frequency to another level. And that's when you can perceive the music coming in from a different frequency. Change it the other way. Now you're going into a lower frequency and you get to another channel, another dimension or subdimension. That's how consciousness works. That's how science works. This is what's happening. So it's not limited. It's pretty profound, like our brother said earlier. You can connect to someone on the other side of the planet. You can astral travel. Remember, that's the key, astral, 4D. You can astral travel and go check out your friend's bedroom. You can be an astral voyeur, spy on people from the astral. Maybe they are. Maybe someone's watching you. And it's not limited to people with abilities and psychic abilities. What do you think the fallen angels are doing? What do you think the beings, remember, most of these nefarious intruder races are coming from the second universe, dimensions 4, 5, and 6. This is why they can appear to you as gods and communicate to you in your head and offer advice like they're the self-proclaimed archangel or whatever, because they have mastered these abilities. They are, like I said, much more super psychic than us because they are operating in higher life force. Unless you're an indigo, unless you're a starseed, right? And that was my whole point of the spirit video from Tuesday. That these are beings from other worlds. Well, psychic abilities are frequencies from other worlds. And you activate your psychic parts. You open the chakras, you open the light bodies, the particle grids, you're breathing in those frequencies, you're training those frequencies, then you'll be able to perceive those levels of your identity in the world. And then that's why you can see aliens, and damn, you can see someone entity in someone else's light body. They're living there. And the person doesn't know because they don't have their heart chakra psychic abilities activated. Doesn't mean they can't. Remember, any human can do this. They just have to go on a change, on a spiritual journey, and start learning how to do this themselves. This is a technology. You can learn the technology. or not, because some people will not. Many people are not awakening. Machiwa. Most humans are not. And you can call that my own opinion, but this is the signs in the world. You can just see the signs in the world. So maybe Trump's a sign, maybe he is not, right? I'm personally not into the politics. I'm really not. So we're basically done with the Guardian angelic realities point of view, but let me just finish it up. We're almost at the end of it. The parallel earth, direct cognition of knowledge from higher identity levels, change in sleeping and eating patterns. Well, you don't have to be psychic to have that, but that's just one of these many signs. It's just one of the signs. Temporary mood swings doesn't mean you're on your period, right? It could be anyone who's experiencing fourth heart chakra activation. Anxiety attacks, manic or depressive states, hot or cold flashes and hormone flux. And what is the government's solution? To put you on pharmaceuticals so you're no longer experiencing ascension symptoms. They don't want you awakening. They don't want you having psychic abilities. This is why the topic of psychic abilities is censored. So I'm going to make a poll. We're getting closer to the end of tonight's show, but let me make a poll. Have you experienced any psychic, trippy experience that you can't explain from a 3D point of view? A scientific point of view. You can't explain it. Something paranormal, something supernatural, something, one of the symptoms you saw, all the different things you can experience. Well, maybe you experienced one of those things. So you could say, yes, I have experienced psychic abilities. So let me put that in a poll. Where is it? Got this? We got this? Holy Ones? Yeah, Stephen Oswald. Woohoo! Thank you so much, brother. Yeah, baby, what's up? We also got another one from Sarah and Star Princess. OMG, sister, you're so amazing. Thank you so much, bro. This is like a gift. Thank you. And we're getting closer, you guys. $50 more. I know we can do this tonight. Please, let's do this tonight. So let me do this poll. Start a poll. Have you experienced any psychic abilities? Or, I should say, or experiences. Have you experienced any freaking trippy ass stuff? No. Psychic. I mean, I don't want to just say ability because maybe it was just one incident. Psychic incidences. That sounds just too weird. I'll just say abilities or experiences. Abilities or experiences. Okay, how's that? Yes or no, or I'm not quite sure. Because maybe you think it was a drug that did it instead of your actual ability, right? All right, you guys. I launched the poll. I did it, right? What? How come it's not letting me start the poll? There we go. Okay, I got it straightened out. So, and I know some of you shared your psychic experience, so let me share another one of mine. Like, what my first love of my life, I was a kid. She was a kid. Both teenagers. Well, like turning 20 or something like that. She was a strong, powerful empath. I didn't know it. But later when we were adults, we talked about some of our experiences. And we confirmed, both of us confirmed. And we Man, I even tested the theory. I tested the theory with an image. And there's no way we could have got that. Like, there was nothing influencing the experiment. And dude, it's just freaking so unbelievable. Just a huge confirmation that there's some type of telepathy going on with certain humans. Even twins. If you're a twin, like your brother and sister, you're twins, or identical twins even. That's even stronger. They have this ability of telepathy or whatever. Or even with my daughter, I've experienced it. Where you're about to say, you say the same thing at the same time, or 1 second different. Or you say it at this, in a conversation. And, stop reading my mind. But we say that as a joke, but that's real. It's not a joke. It could be funny, whatever, but you realize there is something to it. There's something to deja vu. There's something to having a strong feeling in a certain place. Something makes you think about something, whether that's an object or a person or a location. This is a real thing, you guys, and it's happening in the human race. Not everybody. A small percentage of the planet are indigo children and starseeds and some awakening humans. But there's not many awakening 3D humans. But they can start to activate the heart chakra, which has some of those things that you saw earlier. Whoa. Stephen Oswald. Woohoo, brother. Thank you so much, man. Some of you guys, I don't know what I would do without you guys, because wow. Thank you so much, brother. You're awesome, man. Now we're so much closer, you guys. $23 more. Please, you guys, help your brother out. $23 more. Someone out there can help. I know we can do this. Oh, wow. Syrian Star Princess. I have telepathy with my youngest daughter. You see, especially it's closer when our DNA is very close, like a relative. But I will tell you another thing, you guys. With your twin flame or soulmate, because they can be one or the other, you will definitely have paranormal psychic connections. That's something to look forward to as you develop, and as your twin flame or soulmate develops. You want to be working on that path together, right? It just makes it more stronger. And so, and it doesn't even have to be a twin flame. It could just be other spiritual related people, other psychic people like you. It's going to activate being near. You know how big the aura, parts of your aura can cover hundreds of miles? So if they're right next to you and their field is huge and your field is huge, you're going to share on something on different levels, for sure. Machiwa! Giannis, Star Sister, woohoo! I like that. Thank you so much, beloved. Thank you, sister. Can't wait to meet you. This is awesome. We're getting closer, you guys. $18 more. $18 more. We can do this, holy ones. Woohoo! Lauren got 8:23. 10:23. I got 8:23 here. In Pacific time. Can you guys believe it? It's almost September. Monday, it's going to be September. Very soon, I'll be in Sedona. Machiwa. So, I'm glad you guys hang out with us tonight. It's always a blessing to have more indigo children, more angelic humans awakening to our potential, to this group energy. Give me 5 indigo, team indigo. And that's a real thing. We came here as groups. We all have this potential, and I know some of you are experiencing those psychic abilities. It's nothing to be ashamed of, because society is going to make you feel ashamed or scared that, what's wrong with me? I don't want to have these abilities. Turn these off. How do I turn... real. I've literally had messages saying, how do I close back my third eye? How do I shut it off? Well, I know, usually you don't want to de-evolve, but if it's really bothering you, just eat, I'm not going to tell you crap advice, but you could eat a bunch of junk food. You can take a lot of fluoride toothpaste. Make sure you're swallowing some of that fluoride toothpaste. Decalcify your third eye. That's the secret. But that's not what you really want to do. Something is making you afraid or making you see demonic energies. That's what you need to take care of. Not being psychic, not having your third eye open. That's not the solution to close it. The solution is you want to work on what the source of that darkness is. Shadow. Have you considered maybe it's coming from your life choices? Maybe it's coming from someone else in your house. Maybe it's a family karma. Maybe it's a human race karma. Maybe it's something going on in your neck of the woods, in your area. But if you guys are having psychic attack, because you can, well, that's where you throw up your shield. You learn how to protect yourself on an astral level. It's no joke, you guys. You can be attacked. So, think about the movie Star Wars. You got Jedis, but you also have dark Sith. And you want to learn psychic defense. So, let me tell you before we end real quick, let me show you the triadic phase currents in Cathara. So let me open the Cathara PDF, because these teachings teach you about the chakras in a whole different way than you learn from New Age. So let me open Cathara, if it'll let me. Yeah. I'll just put the word phase currents. Triadic phase currents. This is the exact page I was trying to get to. Let me see if it talks about them. Triadic currents in color. Each phase of triadic current corresponds to a wavelength in the dimensional spectrum. Remember, every chakra is a different dimension that appears as color to the embodied human. So you guys want to be psychic? This is what you do. You work on the chakra. In directing triadic currents, triadic simply means three. Three currents. We therefore use the color translation of that primary dimension wave spectrum, like blue ray, that's a wave spectrum, you guys. Green ray, indigo ray, violet ray, those are multidimensional spectrums. To differentiate between phases of current as an energy current for various applications. The first current to be activated in Cathara healing is the Doratic current. Dora means anything from the soul level. That means green ray, blue ray, indigo ray. The frequencies drawn in harmonic 2, the soul level, through the Doratic shield and alpha Huva body. The Doratic current has three phases. Phase 1 through 4 dimensional current, chakra. Green wave. Phase 2, 5th dimensional current, blue wave, blue ray. And phase 3, 6th dimensional current, indigo ray. Or they use the word blue violet instead of indigo sometimes. So look at this chart. The density 1 has the first three chakras. Telluric, that would be red. And then the second one is orange, and the third one is yellow. Remember the heart chakra, and the throat chakra. This is the third eye chakra. green, blue, and blue violet or indigo. So basically, you would be doing something like this to focus on one of those chakras. You would be using a triadic phase current. Here's another triadic phase current. Another triadic phase current. Now the pale silver is the liquid light one, where you're combining 11D and 12D, which is pure white and dark silver. But you visualize it as one color. This combined color is like liquid mercury or liquid metal, chrome liquid. So you take chrome liquid, pale silver, combine it with yellow, and combine it with indigo, and I'm just showing you this as a visual. You eventually know how to run it. The teachings, like Kathara, are going to teach you how to run it. And those triadic phase currents are helping you focus on one chakra that you want to boost, that you want to train, that you want to work on. So you will find out what the correct triadic phase current is to work on just the heart chakra. Find out and practice the triadic phase current that works on the blue chakra. The same one for the indigo, another one for the crown, vice versa. Whatever you want to work on, you learn how to do it. This is beginner kindergarten stuff, man. You want to be learning how to do that anyways for ascension. Because for ascension, you literally need to at least have 5-strand activation, when most humans are between 2.5 to 3.5. They need 2 more whole freaking strands of DNA in one lifetime. This is why spiritual ascension and awakening is hard work. You got to do a lot of work. So start. Machiwa. I guess we're not going to get $18 more, but I'm sure someone will probably do that on the replay. So thank you guys so much for hanging with us tonight. Thank you for being with this Indigo family. We meet together twice a week, and this is part of a spiritual war, you guys. We need to wake up. We need to wake up ourselves, so each and every one of us can bring in our highest current, our highest frequency, our highest potential. And when we're waking up, we can help others awaken. We can share these teachings, tell them about Kathara, tell them about the Voyagers books. Show them and share videos and links to PDFs like we do. I got accused recently that I'm on a paywall and I'm stealing Ashana's work. That is such a disgusting, low vibe comment, clueless, ignorant comment. They were specifically talking about my diagram. It was probably blurred out and they can't see the whole diagram because it's a product, that's a paid product. But you guys, I am sharing the teachings. I am adding to the teachings. Like, bless my twin flame because she's doing the same thing. She's adding to the teachings. We're bringing in our Christos avatar connection and code. Our Rishik identity and code. That's what we're all trying to do. I'm not stealing nothing. I'm adding to the value of, not changing, not replacing, but adding more. This huge, beautiful diagram, did you know it's freaking 200 inches tall and wide? It took me 3 years to create that. I'm not stealing nothing. I'm adding to the value. I'm helping. I'm creating. We're meant to create. I'm creating teaching tools. I'm creating learning tools. There is no paywall to the teachings. We give you every single link to every single workshop and every PDF that we know about. There is no paywall, homie. But you're going to get low vibe people saying this crap all the time. Transmute, we just transmute that from a Christic answer, a Christic reply. What's up? This is my full-time job, man. I spend my life on this. This is my life devotion, my life commitment. I'm not taking anybody's work. I'm sharing the guardian work. You know, this is not coming from Oceana. It's coming from CDT plates. Fact-checking you, homie. This isn't Oceana's work. It's the guardian work. It's the universe's work. It's source God's work. There's no copyright on innerchristos. There's no copyright on unity. We share the information. That is what my service is. Thank you for those hearts, whoever is sending all those hearts. But you're going to get low vibe people like that all the time, trying to hit you in the gut, trying to bring you down. Holy ones, transmute those frequencies, put boundaries on those frequencies. You can ignore those frequencies. You can delete those frequencies. You can block those frequencies. Holy ones, what's up? Protect yourself, protect your children, and keep rising in the Christ, the Christos. Keep bringing in that higher Christos avatar, that solar rishi. Bring that higher self here. They can't say nothing. They can't do nothing. You're going to rise and shine your light. Shine your light, holy ones. And beware of those false light teachings. Be aware of these trollers, like I just mentioned. Machiwa, Abby. We did it. We did it. We did it. Thank you so much, Abby. Bless you, sister, for helping out. You rescued tonight's lives, so thank you so much to all of you who donate tonight. Thank you to all my members, and thank you to all you regulars. And Abby wrote a comment. Abby88. I have a niece named Abby. Thank you, Anahazi, for all you do. I have learned so much and will continue to learn with these teachings. This is the information my soul has been looking for. By the way, how can I get on Discord? Thank you. You're a member. I see your star. So write to me on my email below, or write to me on Instagram or Facebook. You know, direct message me. Just say, hey, I'm Abby88 from the live. And then I'll hook you up with the membership. And that goes for any of you. And by the way, thank you, Abby. Thank you so much, sister. And that goes for any of you guys who are members. Even a $5 member has access to the Discord chat server. Join the Discord server, you guys. That's where you need to be a member. This is how we can have a safe community. There is guidelines, and thanks to our brother Indigo Wizard, he does a lot of work himself helping this community. I can't do it with any of you guys. I can't do it without Sir Madism. I can't do it without Celine, Stardust Goddess. I can't do it with my moderators. I can't do it without Giannis. I can't do it without, this is a full-time work. And we do this in service to others. We're not even expecting anything in return. But I want to say this. There's no reason why indigo children and starseeds or any of humanity, there's no reasons why we can't live in abundance, because there's so many distortions out there that say, oh, there's something wrong with having money or having security. Transmute those ideas. Those are deeply rooted ideas in our civilization. That is guilt being pushed on you from religion, while they're taking your, at the church, you're feeding the church, you're making the church bigger, you're making religion bigger, right? But we can be abundant, you guys. Look at me. You know that I've had issues because I went through homelessness. And it's been hard to restart a new business. I had a very successful business before. I had no problems with money before. But one reason or another, my soul took me on this journey and I lost everything. And even when I was homeless, I wasn't sad. I wasn't depressed. I was still experiencing supernatural paranormal things in my life. But so I'm going through a healing process, and you will see one day I won't need to be asking for donations. I guarantee it. Eventually this platform will be taking care of itself. Eventually all my enterprises and endeavors will take care of itself. But thanks to all of you who do support this work, because I can't do this without you guys. I'm so grateful for all of you who have helped. Some of you do understand what's happening here on this channel. We're awakening a lot of people on this platform. And we do it through the Christos. Not through New Age. Bless New Age and anyone who's trying to wake up. But there's a lot of landmines out there. Part of my job is to wake up a lot of those beginners who are awakening. Because you can be trapped in some of the, entangled in some of the distortion that is being set up purposely by the Jehovian fallen angelic Anunnaki. Not just them, it's the Inky Anunnaki, the Marduk Anunnaki, the Tothian groups, the fallen angelic negative intruder groups, the Enochian groups, the Saturn groups, the Yahweh groups, okay? The Anu Elohim groups. This is why my channel brings that out to your awareness. You're going to see pictures of them. You're going to see teachings about them, exposing them. Light exposes dark. Stand in your conviction. Stand in your Christos light, baby. Stand in your inner Christos. And you will see all the distortions in this world and all the distortions in your body, your emotions, your mind, and your spirit. So much gratitude to the guardians for returning these teachings to earth, because this hasn't been available on earth for thousands of years. If I remember correctly, the last time it was on earth was a few 100,000 years ago. And now it's been returned back during this final conflict. I'm not coming up with that. That's what the guardians say. They call it the final conflict. So bless you, all of you who incarnated during this time, because you're here to help balance this fallen angelic distortion. You're all needed. All of you are bringing your code. We all have this unique heritage, man. We all have our own family of consciousness. The guardians call it your personal Christos. I have my personal Christos, along with my twin flame. All of you brothers and sisters have your personal Christos. You're bringing in your code. I'm bringing in my code, Indigo. What's up, homies? Machiwa. Shada ure akumtan. Shada ure akumtan. Shada ure akumtan. That is guardian frequency, homies. That is Anuhazi language. That is Avatar Rishi frequency code. That is 13D. That is Elohai. Unconditional love, omni love to all of you. This is a great time to be alive. Because when there is drama, then there's much more opportunity to grow. More challenge means more lessons, more potential. This is a great time to be alive. It's an honor to walk with you guys on this path together, on this inner Christos path. I call you holy ones for a reason, because you are. We're the ones bringing the untarnished, undistorted, true spiritual teachings. These are the true intentions of Source God, to be living in the 12 attitudes of mastery, to be living in the 12 responsibilities of mastery. Know what they are, speak them, practice them in your daily life. I love you guys. Machiwa. Have a beautiful weekend. I hope to see you guys on Tuesday, and I'll be seeing you through my journey in Sedona and beyond. Bless you. Machiwa. Omni-Christos love. Yeah, baby, what's up? Chikas Masul. Have an indigo party. Good night, you guys. Let me write that in chat. I'll put that in chat. Omni-Christos love. Omni-Christos love, baby. Woohoo! I want some of that. I want a ton of that. Let that damn flow. Just let it rush through your Shikas Masul, Oma and Tewa. See you guys soon. Good night.